perfectionism put me in hospital. Today I smile at it, as it feels much lighter. For 35 years, I work as a creative director, designer, photographer, film director for different brands, Givenchy, Saint Laurent, Tiffany & Co., Karl Lagerfeld, and so many others. And most of those years, I was also a perfectionist who couldn't stop. When you're a perfectionist, there is something you are avoiding. You don't want to expose yourself. You don't want the future to be tangible. At some point, the work is done, but you keep polishing and polishing until it becomes a mirror in a certain way. You are scared to bring yourself to reality. It's like putting on your head a virtual noise-cancelling headphone, meaning you're drifting step by step into your own world. That world feels safe. There is a certain satisfaction because you know that you managed to put yourself in direct contact without noise to your work. I felt that I was a thinking machine. I was in very, very close contact to what I was doing. It was like there was a direct plug between who I was and what I was doing. Something started to happen, something I did not notice at first. As soon as I disturb the contact, it feels like a train robbery. I began to be very angry at myself, and all activity outside of what I was doing became disturbance more than anything else. I see that every time someone tells me they are perfectionist, I listen, and then I ask only one question. How does that make you feel? There is always a silence after that question, always, because if the answer is only pride, maybe this video isn't for you yet. But if somewhere in that answer there is also exhaustion, a project that's been almost ready for months, is a thing you haven't shown anyone yet, then you already know what I'm about to say. That isolation, that anger at anything that breaks the context, that's what keeps you flying, not towards something, away from landing. The perfectionist doesn't fly towards the sun to reach it. The perfectionist flies to avoid landing. There is one thing that concretely helped me to get out of this. I tell you what it is, but first you need to understand why it works. I know this because I live on both sides of it. For a long time, I thought that perfectionism and procrastination were two different things, two different people. They were the same. The procrastinator doesn't start. The perfectionist doesn't finish. Both are doing exactly the same thing, avoiding the moment when the work becomes real, tangible, exposed. Because when it's out there, someone can tell you what's worse. Procrastination is a synonym of perfectionism. It comes from the fear that you are not good enough to achieve a perfection that you have in your own mind. Let me tell you what really happened with that hospital. I was preparing a défilé for Karl Lagerfeld. It was weeks and weeks without really having a good night's rest. No weekends. In the last 2 or 3 days before the défilé, I was reducing even more the hours I allowed myself to rest. Until 2 days before the défilé, I didn't sleep at all because I wanted things to be really perfect. When the défilé was finished, I just wanted to go home and close my eyes. As soon as I went home, I realized I was not able to sleep. So I called an ambulance because I didn't feel good at all. At the hospital, they gave me a sedative so I could finally rest. I felt relieved from the situation because I was really scared that I couldn't sleep. And that night taught me something. There are two things happening at the same time when you create. There is the work, and there is what the world says about you. As long as you cannot separate those two things, you're trapped. As long as those two are tangled together, you cannot finish, because finishing the task means facing the verdict on your value. And it's too much to risk. I know that because I still live it sometimes, not the same way, but it's still there, and I still have to remind myself of this regularly. What actually changed is that I can now see it coming before it becomes unmanageable. So, what do you do about it? Now you understand why it works. This is what I was talking about. I think everyone needs border to go more free. If there is no border, there is no limit. And if there is no limit, it's chaos. The fact of working in an environment with limits gives you something. You work in a room and you feel safe to work in that room. Something interesting happens with those limits. If those limits are too strict for you, you want to jump over them. But the fact that you have the limits means that you want to jump. Jumping over something is a movement. It's a direction. Imagine now that there is no limit. You don't feel necessarily safe. You have a feeling of liberty, but it's not liberty, it's questioning. Where are you going? Where are you? Who am I? The work with me is to find the limit that belongs to you, the one that fits who you are, the one where you are going to feel comfortable. When someone comes to me for coaching, they arrive with a situation. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle it. But by the end, they arrive at something different. They realize, yeah, I'm going to be able to make it. The strength was there the whole time. Very often at the end, people telling me, I didn't know that I will be able to do that. I didn't know I could do that. At that moment, when someone discovers a strength they didn't know they had, that's what I call the little star. I see it light up in them, and I feel it too, at the same time. When you understand the train robbery and the hospital, it becomes very simple. Perfectionism is just procrastination with a higher standard. The most sophisticated form of the same fear. It comes from the fear that you are not good enough to achieve the perfection that you have in your own mind. It's being trapped by your own self. I know what you're thinking right now, and it's very legitimate. My perfectionism is what makes my work good. If I let go, the quality drops. But in fact, it's your ability to focus that makes your work better. Your ability to stay with something for a long time, to follow every branch of it. When you're creative, your mind goes everywhere, in all directions, like a tree that branches and branches. When you are in perfectionist mode, you concentrate on 2, 3, 4 matters. That's it. That focus was always yours. Perfectionism didn't give it to you, because perfectionism is driven by only one thing: fear. The fear of what you're going to present, the fear of who you are, the fear of not being loved enough. That's perfectionism. It is very different from focus. Your quality comes from focus. That's the difference. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. When I think about perfectionism today, about the sleepless nights, the skipped meal, the hospital, and the moody mark that I could have presented sometimes, I smile. The past situation is still the same, but when I'm smiling at it, there is less gravity in it. Perfectionism gets harder to live with when you work only from your own bubble, only your idea, only your world. The way out is slower. You accept what you didn't plan for. You let in what's happening around you instead of shutting it out. The goal is to let something in, to leave the crack open, because when something comes from outside, you are no longer alone with it. Every creative I know lives some version of what I just described. We all have our version of the noise-cancelling headphones. We all have our version of the train robbery, and perhaps even our version of the hospital. It's not about being a perfectionist or a procrastinator. It's, can you smile at it yet? And if you can't smile at it yet, it means that there is something holding you. Something that won't let you laugh at it even. Because the moment you can, you are winning over what's happening. If you watch until here, it means that you already open a door, and opening a door is already the beginning of the desire to change something. If what I've just described sounds familiar, I'd like to invite you to a conversation. Just 30 minutes to look at what's holding you. The link is below.